roughing the passer, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Coaches and analytics. Let me be the first to say that I'm not a big fan of using analytics during the game. I think analytics are great to use when you're game planning. Maybe you have an idea of how often you want to play or what play may work best and because of the tendencies of a team's defense or offense. But I don't like using analytics to make decisions during the game. And I don't know if you all are annoyed by this or not, but the one thing that I think that really makes me upset is to see a team in 4th and 1 or 4th and inches, 3rd and 1, 3rd and inches, and they line up in a shotgun. That just bothers me to no end. We saw Chicago do that Monday night. Even though I thought Justin Fields got in, the referees didn't think he got in. And I just don't think you need to line up 6 yards behind the center when you're trying to go 1 yard. But what are your overall feelings about analytics? How do you feel about the analytics say to go for 2 even in the 3rd quarter, or maybe you go for at your own 45-yard line because analytics say if you do that, your win probability goes up 15% and things of that nature. What do y'all think about this stuff?
Football is a game about in the trenches. Now, I mean, I understand these analytics to a certain degree kind of help, and you can play the odds, but football is in the trenches. If you ever played football, you're not going to sit up there, you got 3rd down and inches. You got a damn running back there that's 245 pounds, 5'11". All you got to do is just, pound that rock. You get behind the fullback, get behind the tight end that's playing this fullback. You got 2 tight ends on each. You got 2 tight ends on the side. Quarterback sneak. That's high percentage right there. That's just like, if it's just like free throws. But bottom line of it is that the analytics only play us. That just gives you some statistics to go by. The game is won in the trenches. It's run mano a mano. And, when it comes down to it, that's what wins you football games. The analytics stuff, I mean, if you want a game plan to use some analytics, that's fine. If you want to script 15 plays using analytics, okay. But that doesn't always work. It loses you more football games, in my opinion, than it does win you some. So, because you hear these teams all the time when it gets to week 7 or week 8, and they're sitting up there at 2-6, and they're going like, we got to get back to basics. What does that mean? They got to get back, they got to go back to the lab and, get back in the trenches and go to work, because they may have been trying some of this stuff and it doesn't work. And more often than not, it doesn't. So the game's won in the trenches, man. You got to go by what's tried and true. There's won football games for hundreds of years, so
yeah,
that analytics stuff, fuck that shit.
I mean, but right, when I look at guys like Brandon Staley, who loved to go for it on 4th down last year and came up short a lot of times. I mean, how do you feel about someone, I guess, carrying a clipboard telling you what the analytics say, and that's what you should do, as opposed to going with your gut as a coach? I mean, that's not coaching, is it?
No, it's not coaching. And the thing about it is, it's just all about, to me, it's kind of like pro football focus. Pro football focus is the wrongest shit going. Pro football focus might say Baker Mayfield is number 1 quarterback, and you can't go on, analytics and, how could you possibly come to that conclusion? So it all depends on the situation. It all depends on the game. It all depends on the opponent, in my opinion. So you may say, okay, well, you can't run the ball on Tampa Bay defense. But if you've been running the ball all day, you may want to go for it on 4th down. And you should be able to get 2 yards if you're averaging 6 yards a carry. But, on another day, you might say, well, we may not need to go for it because we got 20 rushes and we only got 33 yards. So it just all depends. I don't think analytics can tell you what the situation is over the entire NFL because it all depends on the team, all depends on the opponent. Teams switch out players each year, and each team get two key players. That changes the whole analytics. So I think that if you're a coach, you should go with what feels right for your team and how the matchup is lined up. If you don't, then I think that's where a lot of times it goes wrong for a lot of these coaches.
No doubt. And I think one of the biggest things that you can't calculate with any type of computer is momentum. Sometimes when you have
Yes,
the momentum,
exactly.
that's the time to do certain things.
Hmm.
And so I hate to see these guys do something like that. If it's 4th and 1 on the goal line, if it's 4th and goal on the goal line, and I try to quarterback sneak it or I try to go halfback dive and I don't get it, I can look at my team and just say, all right, you know what? That other team was just they were hungrier. They wanted it more. They were better than us in that play. But if you try to run some double reverse because you think you can fool them in this trickeration, so to speak, man, I can't respect that. I don't want them guys coming to me, looking at me in the locker room, and I got Derrick Henry in my backfield, and I try to run some type of crazy play with Ryan Tannehill running a option play or something crazy like that. I mean, do what works. I think, to me, I don't know about all sports, but to me, football is just like parenting. Every generation tries to evolve to the point that the older generations don't even recognize what they're looking at anymore. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with Woody Hayes and 3 yards in a cloud of dust. All right. Sometimes you got to air it out. I get that. But I just think sometimes they guys got to either you're going to coach or you're going to have somebody with a computer run your game, run your team. Which I'm fine with a computer taking over from Mike McCarthy personally. All right.